or grow a community. We're counting on working parents to make it happen, and they're counting on childcare professionals to have their backs. Employers and other contributors can earn up to a $100,000 tax credit for strengthening childcare in our communities and state. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation, and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Spring is here. It's time to get back outside and into proper shoes this year. Brown Shoe Fit is the place to buy this spring with their sale on athletic shoes. Get $15 off any regular price athletic shoes with respected brands like Hoka, Brooks, New Balance, and On Running. And don't forget, Browns carries a large arrangement of sizes and widths to fit your feet properly. Start your spring off right at Brown Shoe Fit, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
When you get the Planet Fitness Black Card, you can bring a friend anytime you work out. And now through March 13th, get your first month free when you join. You heard that right. Conquer the stair climber with your partner in climb. Enjoy a post-workout recovery session in the hydro massage. And do it all again with access to any of our 2,700 convenient locations. So, you coming? Get your first month free and all the perks with the PF Black Card for just $1 down, $24.99 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends March 13th. See Club for details.
Nebraska Lottery.
Hey, I heard Trucks and Bucks is back.
Yes, sir. And this year you could win one of 8 new gray trucks. People from around the state just love this game.
They do?
You bet. Just this morning, I got calls from excited players in Burwell, Sutton, Falls City, and Ralston.
Well, you can add Wilbur to the list.
You're from Wilbur?
No, that's my name.
Oh.
Hey, if you get a call from Alma, that's my aunt.
That's her name?
No, well, that's where she lives.
Trucks and Bucks top prize odds are 1 in 336,000.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
This is the Adam Carriker Show.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everidge. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carriker.
Maturing is realizing that you did hold the flashlight right. Your dad was just mad he couldn't do whatever it was he was working on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. This is the last day you'll get to enjoy my wonderful presence, voice, sights, and sounds for this week, but typically Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Time. Grab your lunch. Come join us. All right, what you're going to hear is Husker sports, college football, and sports in general. What you're going to get is unique insight, unbridled honesty, and producer Jake and I are going to have a whole lot of fun in the process. And again, this is a loaded show today. Like, I'm staring at stacks of papers. I got about 5 things across the top of my laptop that we got to get to. Press conference going on right now. Matt Rhule's probably still talking. Actually, I think players are up on, or speaking now, Rocco. I know Rocco Spindler was talking earlier. Man, there are some things to take away from this press conference that are very, very interesting. And we're going to dive into it at noon. It may take the whole hour. I don't know. We're not going to rush through it. But there's lots of stuff to take away from this. We're going to dive into that at the top of the hour at noon. Just a couple of things. Matt Rhule talking about just how the team looks physically. And I quote, "We're certainly further along than we have ever been just looking at us physically," end quote. Another thing, he talks about OTAs. Basically, he thinks it would be dumb. Well, the off season, the spring practices, things of that nature. He thinks it would be dumb to treat them like NFL OTAs. All right. Then he talks about Dylan Raiola, and I quote, "He won't be a great quarterback at 240 pounds." End quote. We're going to talk about that obviously as well. Talks about how he almost didn't want to hire Mike Eckler and why, and then why he ultimately did end up hiring Mike Eckler. All right. Obviously, Pat Stewart was officially announced as the GM today here at Nebraska. Learn a little bit more about Pat. We may actually do that right after I'm done going through in some of these headlines from the press conference. And there's still going to be more as the players are talking and things of that nature. All right. He mentioned that a couple of NFL teams actually tried to poach, or in his words, I said poach, hire away Corey Campbell, our strength and conditioning coach. All right. And Mitch Cholanowski, the Huskers coordinator of football sports science. But we were able to keep them in-house. So you got to fend off college teams. You got to fend off NFL teams. It's a crazy world we live in. Talks about all the wide receivers that we brought in through the transfer portal. Dane Keene, Isaiah Hunter, Hardley Gilmore. Why? Why bring in so many? And why bring in Gilmore, the least proven out of all of them, after you've already brought in these other guys and you've got Ja'Cory Barney and other guys on the roster? He explains why. All right, Rocco Spindler, one quote we do have for him right now, at least at this point, as the press conference is still going on, and I quote, "We've got to be an O-line driven program." End quote. Love that. Talks about Matt RHULE did. Ty Robinson called him a cheat code. So there's a lot to talk about. There's still more coming out, which is why we're going to dive into it at the top of the hour. Once the full press conference is complete, get all of our notes. Jake has got about 2 or 3 clips we're going to play as well. In the meantime, I want to talk about our new GM. All right, Fred Hoiberg went on the radio last night, made a promise to Husker fans. I want to do kind of a catch-up review of Nebraska's offseason so far. So much has happened. If you missed anything, we're going to go through it. If you'd like a little recap, we're going to go through it briefly as well, plus a couple of sports updates in general. Let's start right off the top with Fred Hoiberg's statement from the show last night. Then let's go into learning about our new GM, Pat Stewart, just a little bit more. Fred Hoiberg said, and I quote, "I promise you this, Husker Nation, we are going to do everything we can to get this thing back to where we are in the tournament, and we are going to be there consistently. This place means the world to me. I absolutely love it. I'm passionate about it. We've got staff right now that are out on the road recruiting, and once the portal opens up, obviously, we're going to be active in it. We're going to put a team on the court that's going to fit the values of Huskers. I think this team was a hardworking team. We just did not close out games the way we needed to. We're going to do everything in our power to get this thing right and get a consistent winner on the court." End quote. So first of all, if you can't tell, I like Fred Hoiberg. I just like him in general. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I've spent a ton of time around him. We've interacted via text a couple times, chatted before, I think it was the Colorado game, actually inside Memorial Stadium, but we don't have an extensive relationship. I do like the little interactions we've had. There's been coaches in the past that I interact with them a little, and I'm like, nah, that's good. I don't need to interact with you anymore. So first impressions are important, but just watching him, watching how he conducts himself, going through a tough season, you don't learn much from people when things are going well. You don't learn much from people when they have a lot to gain from something or they want something from you. You learn something from people when they have nothing to gain and when things are going bad. That's when you learn about people. You know, all these youth sports games that I coach, and I immensely enjoy them, especially being around kids. It reminds me what sports is supposed to be about. But every once in a while, you'll be around these people. They win a lot of games, and they come across as really classy. And I'm like, no, it's easy to be classy when you're winning. Then all of a sudden, you see that same coach and that same team losing. And all of a sudden, there's F-bombs being dropped. They're getting in the other coach's face, trying to fight him. I'm like, that's the real person. Now I know who you truly are. Now, don't judge people by their worst moment. But if your worst moment is at a youth sports game, that tells me something as well. My point is, Fred Hoiberg just went through, this has to be one of the most trying seasons he's ever been a part of as a coach. Okay, I know there was a season or two there with the Bulls, etc., but the way he conducted himself, the way he handles himself, and he is a good basketball coach. He's a young basketball coach. He's a guy with a bright future. He's a guy that if he was available out there, I'd be like, hey, let's go get that guy if we can. His quote, when I read that, did it remind you of anybody's quote, and I'll give you a gigantic hint, Jake. Anybody's quote who may have been a former SEC quarterback from the past who then went on to lead his team to a national title later in the season. You have to get this one.
Can you say that again? The SEC quarterback.
So
who
as soon as I read Hoiberg's quote or saw it, I didn't hear it.
No, I
saw it later.
Got it. Tim Tebow.
Yes. Was they lost to Ole Miss at home back before Ole Miss was any good?
Yeah.
He comes out in that press conference and he's just like, I promise you, nobody's going to work harder. Nobody's going to fight harder. Nobody's going to do this. There's actually a statue outside of the stadium there in Gainesville where the Swamp. I couldn't think of what it's called, outside the Swamp. And it's from that speech. And they went on to win the national title later that year. I'm not saying we're going to win the national title next year. I'm not saying we're not anything like that. I'd like to start by winning an NCAA tournament game first. But it reminded me of that speech the instant I read it, because I didn't hear it. The instant I read it after somebody put it up online. I just like Hoiberg. I think he's a good coach. That's kind of my initial reaction before we move on to some football news. What was your initial reaction? What are your thoughts to that quote, Jake?
Well, I mean, he's definitely an easy guy to cheer for. And like you said, he's got his born in Lincoln. His grandfather was the coach here. So he's got connections here to make you believe that he's going to pull out all the stops. Also, his son's on the team. Who doesn't want their son to have success?
Yes.
So I don't have any doubt that Fred Hoiberg is going to be trying his hardest to get this team to where it needs to be. And so that, I mean, I think in a way that at least it makes you feel good, like you want to hear that. But my problem with Nebraska basketball coaches is not that I don't like them. Tim Miles was a very, very likable guy.
Yes.
Doc Sadler, incredibly likable guy. So it unfortunately, to me, that's just kind of where I put this press conference in that category. It's like, yes, Fred Hoiberg comes off as more likable, but again, that hasn't been the problem at Nebraska. We've had likable coaches here before. The problem, or part of the problem, is as it's coming out today, and we've kind of seen it develop. Hunter Salas is a first-team All-ACC performer. Chucky Hepburn, a first-team All-ACC performer. John Tonji, now first-team All-Big Ten performer. By the way, shout out to Bryce Williams, first-team All-Big Ten.
Yep.
But that's just a lot of in-state talent that has kind of dominated elsewhere in college basketball. And so I think that's always, this era is always going to be kind of compared to maybe what it could have been had they been able to land some in-state recruits.
So to your point, and I'm actually staring at a tweet from Caleb Henry. He put it out. Spot the Nebraska guys, including ACC Defensive Player of the Year, Chucky Hepburn. Chucky from Nebraska. Louisville, first-team All-ACC, ACC Defensive Player of the Year. Hunter Salas, Wake Forest, first-team All-ACC. Nebraska guys. I mean, I don't like seeing that in football. Now we got to see it in basketball. So my question for you, because I like Fred, he's easy to root for. I like people who represent the university with class. I also said he's a good basketball coach. He's a young basketball coach. If he was out there, I'd be like, let's go get him. So my question is, take all that out. From a basketball perspective, how do you react to what he said and your expectations for the program going forward?
Yeah, I mean, again, he does. It's nothing that he draws up good plays out of the timeouts and stuff like that. So you don't like sit there and think there could be a lot more on, on. Well, I guess he broke the clipboard this year, but a lot more on the clipboard.
I actually like that, but go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So as a basketball fan, again, I don't think it's going to change how I viewed this season or view the work ahead in the offseason. I mean, and that's what he said. Like, there's a lot of nice dressing around it, but what he said is they're going to have to go do some work in the portal. And I think everybody that's watched Nebraska basketball and can look at the roster that's coming back next year would say, yeah, that's an understatement. They need to go out there and definitely address a lot of things in the portal. So, again, it's great to say something, and then we'll see what kind of happens. We've been through a few different, I mean, Nebraska last year, I don't know if I wouldn't say it was like the Nebraska football's offensive line recruiting, but there's a few guys, like there's targets, and then those targets kind of disappear, and then you eventually get some guys. But then again, you're left thinking, well, what happens if we got the plan A or plan B instead of plan C or D?
You said something yesterday that stuck with me. You tend to say things that either make my day or ruin my day. I'm just going to be honest. You're like, you look at this roster for next year right now, and it's one of the worst in the Big Ten. And I was like, God dang, he's right. That sucks. And it's a beautiful day outside. I got up to 80 degrees, and you ruined the rest of my day, Jake, because it's true. Right now, as it sits, no disrespect to anybody, but your two best players, Bryce Williams, first team all-conference, second leading scorer in the Big Ten, Jawan Gary, they're both gone. You're a team that finished, 16th out of 18th, and you're losing your two best players. Now, you're going to have Sam back. You got some other guys coming back. Hopefully, Connor Essegian can become more well-rounded or just score a whole lot more points if you're going to be a three-point shooter. And Rick Mass is coming back, right? Yeah. Unless he enters the portal. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of work to be done. I guess what I'm saying is, and I agree with what you're saying, but what I'm saying is I like the guy at the helm. It's not an easy job. And the barometer, the bar of success for me, it's just, I don't want to say just because it's never happened. Just get that first NCAA tournament win. Like, that'd be like winning the Big Ten championship in football, I think. I don't know that it would be weighted the same, but as far as reaction and excitement, to me, it would be similar. You're looking at me like I'm crazy.
Well, no, it's just kind of funny because he did also say, like, okay, what we want is to routinely be in the tournament. And that's what any coach should say. That should be any program's goal. And while you said that, I'm just kind of thinking, well, you don't have to do that don't put the expectations to it. It's still Nebraska basketball. So it's almost hard to imagine. I've been watching this program since the year 2000. I think it was 99 that they made it 98. It's been in the tournament twice. Mm-hmm. So you don't even need to, you don't have to be one of the top programs in college basketball. We just like some every couple of years to get a chance at the dance. And at least in these last 2 years they did. I know, but the thing, what it stings obviously is, you look at that. Okay, the last 2 times that you made the tournament, did you keep that momentum rolling? Mm-hmm. And now we've seen, under Miles it didn't, and now under Hoiberg it didn't the year right after.
Here's I've never thought about my specific, because I've talked about what would success look like for football. I've never specifically said it for basketball. As I sit here right now, there's 3 things. Number 1, make the Big Ten tournament every year. Be one of the top 15 teams out of an 18-team conference. Okay, make the Big Ten tournament every year. Be in the conversation to make the NCAA tournament every year. Kind of like I eventually want Nebraska football, once we're kind of rolling a little bit, hopefully, to be in the conversation for the Big Ten championship game, which may actually be harder to make than just making a 14 or 16 team college football playoff field. So I would actually say be in the conversation for the CFP year in and year out way more often than not. So, and then win that first NCAA tournament game. Those would be my top 3 barometers of success for Nebraska basketball. In the Big Ten tourney every year, in the conversation for the NCAA tournament every year, and then at some point, let's get that first NCAA tournament win. All right, couple of random things, and then I want to talk about our new GM, which is officially announced today, although everyone already knew it. All right. Hey, the Commanders are coming. Jake, I'm telling you, we're coming.
It looks like it.
We got Deebo Samuel. We got Jaden Daniels on a rookie contract. He's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. Played like the best quarterback in the playoffs, I might add. That includes Mahomes. That includes Hurts. Check the facts. Check the film. I didn't watch every play, but I'm a little biased. All right. We also brought in a guy with a little bit of an interesting background, but he's made 5 Pro Bowls to be our left tackle yesterday, traded for Laramie Tunsil. So now we've got scary Terry McLaurin. We got Deebo Samuel. Don't tell me he's on the decline. I don't want to hear it. Okay, I just don't want to hear it. Whether you're right or not. I just don't want to hear it. You got Zach Ertz. You got your blindside protection in Tunsil. You got a quarterback. I'm like, all right. So Joey Bosa, I don't know how many big moves you're going to make, but Joey Bosa is now out there. Myles Garrett wants to be traded for. Like, just go get somebody to help that defense. Our secondary. Oh. And then we let go of Jonathan Allen, but that happens. Like, good Lord. Our secondary could be a little bit to a whole lot of bit better, but we got some weapons on offense. Help that secondary. And if you can't bring in somebody in the secondary, help the secondary by getting a pass rush. I'm just saying, keep an eye out for the Commanders in the future, in my very, very biased opinion. All right. And this isn't breaking news, but Bowling Green is hiring Tennessee State's Eddie George as his next head coach. The former Heisman Trophy winner led Tennessee State to its first FCS playoff appearance in 11 years this past season. It was named the 2024 Big South OVC Coach of the Year. Deion Sanders. Did Ray Lewis ever get hired? Wasn't he going to be hired as a coach? Anyways, he was in the conversations. Eddie George. For me, these former players becoming head coaches, I've always said you don't have to be a former player in order to be a good coach. All right. I look at a lot of the great coaches in the past. A lot of them played past high school. A lot of them did not. There is something unique that a former player brings that doesn't inherently mean they're going to be a good coach, But if you're not a former player, it's not your fault. You just can't bring those things to the table. It just is what it is. All right. So to me, I think there's something to be said for a guy like Deion if you're Colorado. You know, Colorado's been talked about more in the past 18 months than they had the previous 18 years, I think, combined just because of Deion. And I think other schools are looking for similar things with Eddie George. Did Ray ever get hired?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. I know it was talked about. I think it was Ray. Like, they're going to immediately give these smaller schools more attention, but there's something that they bring. Again, it doesn't mean you're going to be a good coach. It doesn't mean you're going to be a better coach than someone who's not, but it means you're bringing things that someone who's not played at that level, they just can't bring. And hopefully the idea is that that's going to help you win more games. I think it's going to play out more often than not, maybe not always, but I like this. I'm intrigued by this trend of hiring big name former players as college football coaches. And I'm curious to see how it plays out over time. A part of me wonders, with the nightmare that it is being a college football coach, the way college football is right now, a lot of these guys have a lot of money. Do they really want to deal with what college football is? I don't know. That's the other thing I'm kind of curious to see. Not only are they successful, but hey man, they have to have millions. I don't know their financial situation, but they've made millions, whether they still have them or not. I don't know. Not my business. But financially, do they need to deal with the insanity? So I'm just kind of curious to see how that plays out as well. I will share this, and we're going to go to break, and then we'll talk about our new GM and several other Husker sports updates that I want to get on top of as well. But Eddie George. So I shared the story about Larry Fitzgerald, where he trained for the draft. I believe I shared that. Dave Kennedy, who I brought on the air here during the middle of the football season, the former Nebraska strength coach, was our strength coach. He was doing winter conditioning training the team, but then he was also training Larry as he was getting ready for the draft, Larry Fitzgerald. And I'd never seen a wide receiver in my life lunge with 315 until I saw Larry Fitzgerald make it look easy, which was absurd. Eddie George came in and visited as well. Dave's also trained guys like Joey Galloway throughout his near 20-year plus NFL career as well. Eddie was in, not for an entire offseason, just like a week or two. This is one of the largest running backs I've ever seen. He's like 6'2", 6'3", 230. Just like the quietest, most soft-spoken dude ever. Coach K was like, hey, come in. I want you to meet somebody. I know who was in there. I'm like, oh, it's freaking Eddie George. How are you? You know, don't expect to see you in here right now, but just one of the nicest, quietest, soft-spoken dudes ever. But it was like, this is a ginormous running back in the back of my mind. I think I was only like a sophomore. I hadn't even started a game yet. I'm just like, this dude's almost as big as I am, I feel like. But just one of the nicest, quietest, soft-spoken dudes. And one of the things he imparted on me, he's like, get in that weight room. His words were, that won't be a difference maker for you. He goes, for you, son, that will be the difference maker, which kind of indicated to me that maybe Coach K had chatted with him before he brought me in, and maybe he wanted me to chat with Eddie about these things for a specific reason. For you, son, that won't be a difference maker. That will be the difference maker. I already love the weight room as it was. And we are going to chat about a couple of things, including Dylan, 240 pounds. Can't be a great quarterback at that weight. We'll get to that in the next hour. But don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to chat about our new GM here at the University of Nebraska. And honestly, a whole plethora of other things as well. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Nebraska Lottery.
Hey, I heard Trucks and Bucks is back.
Yes, sir. And this year you could win one of 8 new gray trucks. People from around the state just love this game.
They do?
You bet. Just this morning, I got calls from excited players in Burwell, Sutton, Fall City, and Ralston.
Well, you can add Wilbur to the list.
You're from Wilbur?
No, that's my name.
Oh.
Hey, if you get a call from Alma, that's my aunt.
That's her name?
No, that's where she lives.
Trucks and Bucks top prize odds are 1 in 336,000.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and March Madness is here, and Koppel is ready to rock and roll. We just closed the books on a tremendous February, and we're locked and loaded for a big March. True 0% APR is happening right now at Koppel on select new models. Koppel also has over 10,500 off list on new select models. So please stop on by and see what confident driving and confident buying is all about. We're right down 144th Street or online at koppelcars.com. All deals with the roof credit, 0% is standalone.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Spring is here. It's time to get back outside and into proper shoes this year. Brown Shoe Fit is the place to buy this spring with their sale on athletic shoes. Get $15 off any regular price athletic shoes with respected brands like Hoka, Brooks, New Balance, and On Running. And don't forget, Browns carries a large arrangement of sizes and widths to fit your feet properly. Start your spring off right at Brown Shoe Fit, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion, for happier, healthier, furry friends.
Be sure to check out the top-selling Recomp. Recomp helps build lean muscle and strength while decreasing body fat. Recomp is ideal for men and women of all ages trying to look their best. Recomp can only be found in Nutrition Authority. For info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
Nebraska Lottery.
Hey, I heard Trucks and Bucks is back.
Yes, sir. And this year you could win one of 8 new gray trucks. People from around the state just love this game.
They do?
You bet. Just this morning, I got calls from excited players in Burwell, Sutton, Falls City, and Ralston.
Well, you can add Wilbur to the list.
You're from Wilbur?
No, that's my name.
Oh.
If you get a call from Alma, that's my aunt.
That's her name?
No, that's where she lives.
Trucks and Bucks top prize odds are 1 in 336,000.
Salt Mine City is not only Lincoln's newest brewery, but they're also now serving food. Enjoy a full menu of great items daily for lunch and dinner, like their peanut butter and jelly burger with bacon and cheddar cheese, or a Reuben sandwich served on Blackstone rye bread. Don't forget their beef or chicken nachos with guacamole, sour cream, jalapenos, and more. Wash it down with one of their 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager. Salt Mine City, now open 11 a.m. every day but Mondays at 8th and R.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
It takes hard work to make Nebraska the right place to raise a family, build a business, or grow a community. We're counting on working parents to make it happen, and they're counting on childcare professionals to have their backs. Employers and other contributors can earn up to a $100,000 tax credit for strengthening childcare in our communities and state. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
If you're a veteran, our nation has created a wide range of benefits to thank you for your service. But it can be difficult to navigate the process of determining eligibility, filing claims, appealing decisions, and securing the benefits you've earned. Speak to your county veteran service officer or the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs State Service Office to see what's available to you and your family. These services are 100% free. So visit veterans.nebraska.gov today. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. Segment 2 of the Adam Carriker Show is sponsored by our good friends at Mulberry Barbecue, now with Dose. That's 2 locations at 11th and Cornhusker, and as of this month, now open at 61st and Apples Way, right off of Highway 2 by Lowe's. Both locations are open Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Try their burnt-end sandwich, a brisket burrito, barbecue nachos, a full slab of ribs, a half-smoked chicken, and much, much more. Plus incredible sides. Get fuel for lunch today or make dinner plans at Mulberry Barbecue at 11th and Cornhusker. Now also at 61st and Apples Way, just off Highway 2 by Lowe's. And we are joined all right, as we are each Tuesday, by Nathan Stewart from Tipsy Tina's. And I'm told today you also have McKinney's Irish Pub ribbons and sandwiches, my dude. I'm already hungry sitting here. Talk to me about these things. Why are they so good, and how many can I have?
So I brought you guys quite a bit. So McKinney's now been open for 11 years. We slow boil our corned beef for about 7 to 8 hours, and we shred it. Now, a lot of places will slice it, and we do not, because we want to make sure it's easier to eat and go from there. And then our Thousand Island is made from scratch.
Here, hold on a sec. Jake, you go ahead and ask me a question.
I always have frustrations with this.
Yeah, those the headphones don't always work with us, so we make that work.
Thank you. Thanks, Adam.
Obviously, with McKinney's Irish Pub, there's a big holiday coming around the corner. What are you guys preparing for St. Patrick's Day?
So on this Saturday, we're going to be shutting the street down in front of McKinney's, in front of Laszlo's. We have a 75 by 45 foot tent. We have live music all day. We're going to do the same thing on Monday too. We have a Lucky Charms eating contest.
Ooh, I'm in. Am I invited?
Because we put Guinness, we don't put milk in it. We put Guinness in a Lucky Charms.
Okay.
And you have, So it's.
So when and where is that? So
it's
folks
gonna
can
be
show
on
up?
Saturday.
Okay. What time?
The Lucky Charms eating contest will start at 5
Okay. And then where exactly at?
at McKinney's.
All right, dude. So my kids do it now too, and I get on. I'm such a hypocrite. But Lucky Charms back in the day, I totally just pick out the marshmallows and I would just eat those. Now my kids do it. I'm like, don't you do that? And I'm like, just don't ask my parents if I did that or not.
That's what I like with my daughters. Like, I just give them like honeycombs.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
like stuff like that, because I know if there's any marshmallows in there, they're picking them all out and they're not going to eat the rest of the stuff.
And then the Oreos. I was always the guy that would just eat out the middle. Now they do it, and of course I have to get on them for some reason. But all right, man. People know about Tipsy Tina's, but tell them more. Obviously, you've got delicious tacos. What else do you have? Where exactly can the fine folks find you to try everything out that they want to come try out from your menu?
So, I mean, we have a full menu every day. We're open, from 11 o'clock to our kitchen closes at 11 p.m.
Okay.
With state basketball, we're going to be running a little bit of a limited menu.
What does that mean? You
So
say limited or lemon?
Limited.
Oh,
like
I thought you said
limited.
lemon. I was like, I don't know what that means.
So,
Okay,
like,
limited. Sorry.
So, like, some of the smaller, like, some of the things that take a little more time, we don't put them on our menu during state basketball because it is very hard to kind of just push all the food out.
Yeah.
But especially with Lent going on right now, especially on Fridays, our Bang Bang shrimp tacos, our My shrimp fish tacos is very popular. I can't even tell you how many we sold last Friday. I mean, it was insane. Especially with the warm weather, we got the patio open. So.
I was about to ask you, the warm weather, how much more is that? Like, how many more people end up coming because you open the patio? Now they can be inside, they can be outside. People are just excited to be out. How many more people do you expect this upcoming weekend and even throughout the spring?
So, for example, our patio can hold about 85 to 90 people. So there's a very big difference. Especially like staffing. Sometimes it's really hard, especially during this week, because we have spring break going on. So we have a lot of college employees that are like, they checked out there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I would say anywhere from extra 90 to 100 people almost every day.
Nice.
Yeah. Almost doubles in revenue.
That's awesome. All right, man. So you've mentioned a lot of things from McKinney's Irish Pub to Tipsy Tina's. What's something you haven't mentioned that if somebody hasn't been there before, they have to try? Just give it a try. What would you recommend?
I would say, I think especially for McKinney's, I would say the Reuben sandwich, and then for Tina's, our bean and cheese.
Okay.
Which is a recipe I put together. So it's refried beans, cream cheese, taco seasoning. It's really, really good.
So our show is 11 to 1 every day. So I'm not going to lie to you. I bring in like bars and Jake will see me eating them, but every day I'm like hungry. Dude, every Tuesday when you come in here, I'm just that much hungrier. So I can't wait to try some of the food. Jake, did you have anything else for him before we let him go?
Oh, just real quick, you said you brought in some Guinness onion dip. I don't know if it's a whole lot more complicated than that, but what goes into the Guinness onion dip?
So it's very familiar to like a French onion dip. And what we do is we get about 3 or 4 red onions and we boil it down in Guinness, and of course add sour cream and aioli to it, and we mix it up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to trying that.
Yeah.
All right, Nathan, I appreciate you taking the time. Look forward to seeing you each Tuesday. And ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Awesome.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and March Madness is here, and Koppel is ready to rock and roll. We just closed the books on a tremendous February, and we're locked and loaded for a big March. True 0% APR is happening right now at Koppel on select new models. Koppel also has over 10,500 off list on new select models. So please stop on by and see what confident driving and confident buying is all about. We're right down 144th Street or online at koppelcars.com. All deals with the roof credit, 0% is standalone.
Lincoln's newest restaurant isn't just a typical sports bar. It's the sports bar for so many reasons. Liquid Asset Sports Bar and Grill in South Lincoln has 23 beers on tap and 36 TVs featuring all things sports from MLB to soccer to golf and more, and football, of course, in the fall. Stop by for their grand opening this Friday, March 14th, and enjoy great food and drink selection at Lincoln's newest go-to, Liquid Asset Sports Bar and Grill at 27th and Jamie Lane in South Lincoln.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
When you get the Planet Fitness Black Card, you can bring a friend anytime you work out. And now through March 13th, get your first month free when you join. You heard that right. Conquer the stair climber with your partner in climb. Enjoy a post-workout recovery session in the hydro massage. And do it all again with access to any of our 2,700 convenient locations. So, you coming? Get your first month free and all the perks of the PF Black Card for just $1 down, $24.99 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends March 13th. See Club for details.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Have you heard about Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center? Located at 7555 Pioneers Boulevard, Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center offers compassionate, patient-focused care and provides outpatient surgery services, making it possible to have non-emergency surgery and return home the same day. Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center specializes in cardiology, vascular radiology, orthopedics, pain management, and much, much more. Give them a call today at 402-261-1085 or online at amimaging.com.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
If you're a veteran, our nation has created a wide range of benefits to thank you for your service, but it can be difficult to navigate the process of determining eligibility, filing claims, appealing decisions, and securing the benefits you've earned. Speak to your county veteran service officer or the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs State Service Office to see what's available to you and your family. These services are 100% free, so visit veterans.nebraska.gov today. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
If the week's been too hectic to even think about dinner, or your family can't handle one more night of leftovers, then it's time to let Hog Wild do the cooking. Hog Wild's family packs are one heck of a good deal for a complete barbecue meal loaded with all the smoked meats, tasty sides, buns, and sauces you need to feed your family. Order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Be sure to check out the top-selling Recomp. Recomp helps build lean muscle and strength while decreasing body fat. Recomp is ideal for men and women of all ages trying to look their best. Recomp can only be found in Nutrition Authority. For info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. We mentioned it in the first segment. A shout out to Bryce. I'm sitting here looking at my emails. I've got like 3 email alerts, so it's worth shouting out again. Bryce Williams, first team All Big Ten this year, second leading scorer in the Big Ten Conference. All right, real quick, Jake. If we were to put together Nebraska's all-time starting 5 team, which means you got to incorporate positions. All right. Here are some of the names that I would throw out there. Bryce Williams, Eric Piatkowski, who still to this day is probably my favorite Nebraska player of all time, although Bryce Williams is right in that conversation for me. Oh, man, it's tough. Tyronn Lue, Andre Smith, Rich King.
Can't go wrong there.
What do you think of those 5? What changes would you make?
So you got Ty Lue in there, right? Pike.
Yep.
I think those ones definitely make sense. I think you can go through the. I think those are a few of the retired jerseys there in Pinnacle Bank Arena, so that makes sense. Dave Hoppin, I think certainly would be up there, the all-time scoring leader at Nebraska. Who'd you go with? Andre Smith?
Yeah. So I had Bryce Williams, Eric Piatkowski, Tyronn Lue, Rich King, Andre Smith.
Yeah, I mean, and then it kind of depends on how much you were able to watch these guys and all that. But I'd probably go Hoppin, Piatkowski, Lue, and I got 2 kind of wing players available. Boy, that's tough. Bryce, like you said, Bryce is in the conversation. I mean, he did have the highest scoring game in Nebraska history this year, so it certainly could be in there. Yeah, I mean, just kind of maybe Strick and Bryce.
Yes.
That's probably round out my team.
Yeah. So how many is that? Because we're definitely over 5 now. Strickland's got to be in there. I think Lue and Piatkowski. Man, how do you not put? I know you say he's in the conversation. How do you not have Bryce Williams in there?
Yeah.
Strickland. Oh, it's tough.
Or Tran Petaway. I mean, Tran Petaway, probably right up there with Bryce as far as the career.
If you had to pick 5, you have to pick 5. Who you going with?
So I'd go with Lue.
Okay.
At that point guard.
Okay.
I think Bryce is it's tough.
Shooting guard.
Yeah, Bryce maybe a shooting guard, Strick, Pike, and then Dave Hoppin.
So a little bit smaller starting 5, but I like it.
Yeah.
A lot of scoring. A lot of scoring. A lot of athleticism. A lot of speed. I like it. All right. Pat Stewart is officially the new GM here at the University of Nebraska. Now, we've talked about him before, but he has a long history in personnel scouting in the NFL, including working for the Panthers 2020 and 2022 while Matt RHULE was there. Majority of Stewart's time in the NFL has been spent with the Patriots organization, part of 2 Super Bowl winning teams. In his role at Nebraska, Stewart will lead the Huskers roster management and player acquisition, including high school and transfer portal recruiting, evaluation, and retention. And I quote, "We're moving into an era in college football where roster management retention more closely resembles the National Football League," end quote, RHULE said. Very, very, very true. Another quote, "Pat Stewart will help us manage our roster and operate in a way that will give Nebraska the opportunity to compete As one of the elite programs in the country, Pat and I have experience working together in the past, and I look forward to him joining the Nebraska football family, which is now officially a part of, end quote. All right. In addition to his experience at the pro levels, Stewart has also worked in college football, all right, as well with RHULE at Western Carolina, Temple. All right. Prior to joining, he was also part of the Eagles. Prior to joining the Eagles, Stewart had multiple positions with the Patriots. As I mentioned, 2007 to 2017, was originally hired by New England as a scouting assistant in 2007 and went on to serve as both an area scout and a pro scout. Before entering the NFL, Stewart worked as an assistant director of football operations at Temple under Al Golden, which is really one of the main coaches that helped teach Matt RHULE and helped him become the coach he is today. Western Carolina. All right, he worked for Jim Tressel at Ohio State as a student manager as well. All right, the hiring of Stewart as a general manager is a key part of reorganization of the Huskers front office. As part of that process, Sean Patton will move into the role of assistant athletic director for strategic intelligence. What that means, ladies and gentlemen, is he will focus on the cap analysis and compensation trends, stakeholders engagement, contract negotiations, data analytics, leadership, collaboration, and implementations of project management. So basically, we have two GMs. We have a head GM, and then we have Sean Patton. Do we even have a GM 3 years ago? Now we basically have two. And I know Sean Patton's given this whole different title. He's another GM. Just they're splitting the GM roles into multiple parts. Sean's taking one, Troy's taking the other one and getting the main title of GM. I mean, I think it's a good move. Yeah, he has a great resume. There's no limit now. It used to be you had to have 10 assistant coaches. You couldn't have more. Now you can have 1 billion. Now you can have 1 billion people in different departments. So, again, it's not my money. But if you want to win and actually make more money, this is a part of the process. It just is what it is. Any final thoughts there, Jake, before we move on quickly to some other things?
No, I mean, I'm kind of with you. I'm interested. I mean, there's a lot of names. It's another name to learn. But hopefully it helps the process with whatever is next in college football. That's kind of Matt RHULE said today. It's like we don't necessarily know what it looks like or what it is going to look like. But the more smart people we have in the room, the better they think they can handle it.
It gives you a better chance. All right. When you're younger, it's good to be well-rounded. But as you get older, if you try to be good at everything, you end up not being great at anything. So the more you can divide up roles, as long as you can handle said payroll, the better it's going to be for the organization. All right, so we were going to talk about this yesterday, but we saved it for today. Husker Games presented by FNBO, set for April 26th in Lincoln. All right, this is a complete day of activities. You probably have seen this. For the entire family, Nebraska fans will have the opportunity to get a preview of the 2025 Husker football, volleyball, and soccer teams as part of the Husker Games events. The Husker Games will include football activities in Memorial Stadium, a soccer matchup with Wyoming at Hibner Stadium, and a spring volleyball matchup against Kansas at the Bob Devaney Sports Center. The day will feature tours of the Osborne Legacy Complex, a Husker equipment sale, and a food truck festival. Not much has been made of that Husker equipment sale. What does that mean? Can fans buy pads and helmets? What does that mean?
I don't know. They did something similar. I went to the USC spring game a few years ago. I know you could buy jerseys, shorts, shoes. So I think it'd probably be mostly that, but I don't know. They might do it a little differently.
It doesn't say memorabilia. It says equipment.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking you're right. But if I'm a Husker fan, I can walk in and I can buy Emmett Johnson's shoulder pads from last year or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what that equipment sale means, but it's intriguing. Hopefully the answer is intriguing as the question is to me right now. On the football field, Nebraska will compete in various events, including 7-on-7 games, skills competitions comparable to the NFL's Pro Bowl for engagement activities and other events. In addition to previewing the 2025 football team, Nebraska greats of the past will also put their skills on display in various competitions. I noticed this has changed because originally it was going to be like a media flag football game of some sort, and then former players doing something of some sort along those lines. Now it will put their skills on display in various competitions. So I don't get to do a one-on-one route with Joel Makovica. I'm not going to lie to you. And I just picked Joel because he was in here a couple of weeks ago. But if Amon Green's in for this, and I end up one-on-one, and he's a receiver, and I'm a DB, I'm jamming the crap out of him. I'm not dumb enough to think I can keep up with him speed-wise. I was, excited for some of these matchups. Like Vershawn. Hey, Vershawn, you're a tight end. I haven't covered anybody a day in my life, but let's line up. I'm jamming the crap out of you two, my friend. But, I wanted to see these matchups. I remember watching him run the 400-meter a couple years ago.
Yeah, that's right.
I also, at one point in time, and I think I deleted them now, I'd saved some tweets fans sent me. The only people that are excited about this are the local orthopedic surgeons. And I was like, yeah, that's a fair point. maybe we shouldn't do this. So maybe, as exciting as that is, and I read it on air when I first found out, I was very excited that day. Maybe putting skills on display in various competitions is smarter. Maybe that's a smarter way of doing it.
I think so.
I'm just, I'm a competitive guy, and I grew up watching a lot of these guys, and, in a one-on-one situation, I think it could be a lot of fun. So you compare teams and eras, it's a little different. You compare one-on-one situations, I get excited about that. All right, Gates to Memorial Stadium. And I say that with all due respect, to be very, very clear. I'm just a competitive guy. All right, Gates to Memorial Stadium will open at 12:30. At 1 p.m., an exhibition flag football game between Midland University and a Nebraska intramural all-star team will showcase the rising sports of women's flag football, which is going to be the Olympics in LA, which I think I talked about yesterday. There are now football conferences, especially on the East Coast, that are starting to give away scholarships and starting to put together women's flag football teams. By the way, so Matt Rhule does, I forget what it's called, but it's like a little girls football camp every summer. And so we signed up my 9-year-old daughter, Dakota, who walks around with the hat on backwards, gloves on all day in her Broncos jersey. Dude, this thing was like comprehensive. What is their primary position? What is their backup position? What is their offensive position? Defensive position? I'm like, good Lord, she's 9. Like she plays everywhere. And actually, she's never played flag football yet, as of yet. And well, in the backyard, she's played it a million times with her older brother. But she's doing club soccer, club basketball, and club baseball right now. And she wants to do flag football. So maybe a year from now, we narrow down one of those and flag football jumps in for a year. She technically hasn't done anything yet. She's a pitcher in baseball, so I about put down quarterback, but you never know. I don't know. I thought that thing was quite comprehensive. All right, following the action at Memorial Stadium, the Husker soccer team will hold a spring exhibition match against Wyoming at Hibner Stadium. The game will begin at 4:30 with free admission. I can't help it. Every time I see Wyoming, I think of Craig Bull. I can't help it. I know this has nothing to do with Wyoming football or Craig Bull. That's all I can think of. How do you go from, and I was there the year he was fired, how do you go from being fired as a DC here to building one of the best football programs that's ever been built in North Dakota State, FCS or not? And then he did a good job at Wyoming too. That's not an easy place to win. I mean, people say it's hard to recruit to Nebraska. You want to compare? I've been through Laramie. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I'm just going to leave it at that. All right. Following the action, I already read that. Head volleyball coach Danny Busboom Kelly will make her Nebraska debut when the Huskers take on Kansas at 6:30 in a spring matchup at the Bob Devaney Sports Center. The Huskers are coming off a 33-3 season and a trip to the NCAA semifinals, while Kansas reached the second round of the NCAA tournament last season, posted 25-5 record. Fans can also participate in 3 other events throughout the morning and early afternoon. The Huskers Food Truck Festival will take place outside the East Stadium and includes various food truck options. The Osborne Legacy Complex, which opened last summer, will be on full display to a limited number of Husker fans for the first time. Comprehensive tours will be available 8 a.m. to noon. All right, there's more information, but you get the gist. What are your thoughts on this, Jake? Steve Sipple calls this the spring game replacement weekend.
Yeah, I mean,
what are your thoughts?
Again, I continue to say, I think the biggest thing is if you go in expecting the spring game, you're going to be disappointed. If you go in to go and celebrate Husker sports, then I think you can have some fun with it. I'm really intrigued by it. I'm really intrigued by it. It's a lot to kind of ask to pull off and maybe entertain everybody. We'll see if they're able to do it. I honestly have a question. If you're not going to do a spring game 3 or 4 years from now, are you going to be able to continue this kind of replacement tradition 3 or 4 years from now? Or is it going to be, this could be something that I think a lot of people would be interested to do once. Are you going to do it twice? Are you going to travel to do it twice? Are you going to travel to do it once? So, I mean, there's just a lot that they kind of look at here. But again, I think just embrace the fact that you can get together with Husker fans and have some football fun, think about some football, and kind of cheer on some of those other sports. But it's just hard. I mean, it's always going to be hard to replace actual action in football. And so I don't think it's going to be quite to that level.
I think it's going to be a trial year to see how it goes. I think it's going to be a big time trial year. Does this work? Does this not? How do fans react? What do people think of it? Did we lose a ton of money, which is what college football has always been about? It's just much more front and center now than it's ever been. So I think those are interesting things to keep your eye on and see what they end up doing again next year. All right, because I do wonder, there's going to be a body. I've talked about this. There's going to be a body of people put together to actually enforce rules in the NCAA. And basically, Matt Rhule said there is no poaching or whatever he said. because it's just accepted as normal. Well, if it all of a sudden becomes enforced again, does the spring game become back on the potential table? Because they're scrimmaging. It's not about, like, I never bought the injury argument. I never bought it for a second. They're scrimmaging throughout the spring. He's even said we're still going to scrimmage. So it's not about the injuries. It's about the poaching of players. Well, if schools and coaches are actually going to get in trouble, and now there's some actual body of people enforcing rules for once. Nobody respects the NCAA. Nobody ever respected them, but now they have no power whatsoever. Nobody pays attention to them anymore. It's almost like the NIT. They're not interested. It's like nobody gives a crap about this group of people over here known as the NCAA. But if there's actually a body of people that are enforcing rules, and now you don't have to worry about everybody under God's hot sun getting poached after the spring game, do you potentially bring it back? We'll see how it unfolds. But I do have a surprise for Jake. All right. So I was chatting with Roy Hulu today. I'm sure you know, Nebraska great running back, former Redskins, Washington Commanders running back. And out of nowhere, he goes, Adam, he's got like 6 or 7 kids like we do. We have 6. I don't remember. I think it's 6 or 7 for him. He goes, I've been watching WWE for 2 years with my kids. He goes, what do you think of the John Cena heel turn? So we had quite the discussion.
Nice.
At the end of it, because he doesn't do many interviews. Like, he never does interviews. And he's told me, he's like, there's only so much time in a day. You know, with all due respect, very rarely am I going to do interviews. And so I'm like, you know what, Roy and I, we were almost teammates in Nebraska. We actually only missed each other by a year. I was senior 06, his freshman year was 07. But we were teammates, I think, 2 years in D.C. It was not a wonderful 2 years for me. I was kind of grouchy. I was hurt a lot. I wasn't the friendliest guy to be around. It was not a fun time at that point. The last year, anyways, when I was trying to come back from 84,222 knee surgeries. But I go, hey, my producer at the ticket, Jake, loves WWE, and he's got a show every Sunday night. What time is it?
9 o'clock, yeah.
Name?
Nuclear Heat, yeah. 9 o'clock, 9 to 10 every week on Sunday night.
Right here on the ticket. And I said, hey, I know you don't do many interviews, but would you be interested in talking WWE with Jake on a show? He goes, yes, I'm in. I go, hold on, I'm gonna give your number to him. Are you okay with it? He goes, yes, I'm in. So Jake, Roy Hulu would love to come on Nuclear Heat, 9 to 10 on the ticket. You hit him up, you set this up, and he wants to talk WWE with you, my friend.
That sounds awesome. Roy Hulu is always one of my favorite running backs, and I love the more people that I know, because it's hard to find wrestling fans. You usually have to kind of dig it out of them. To find that out is cool.
I thought that might be a nice little good surprise for you. I look for, when you do that interview, whatever that is, I want you to send me the clip. I want to check it out. So, and then we pretty much agreed on the John Cena heel turn. By the way, final thoughts on that. I forgot to mention this. How I forgot to mention this, because was this greater than the Hogan heel turn we were debating yesterday? We can't answer that, because the Hogan heel turn turned into the NW frickin' O. What does this lead to for Cena? So we won't know the actual answer. The shock factor is right there with Hogan. That's probably 1-2, however you want to. I might even put Cena over Hogan. Because, again, he didn't ruined it for me. Which side is he on? Well, why is he asking that? That, like, blew the cover for me a little bit. With Cena, it was out of nowhere. Totally unpredictable. No cover was blown. But we'll have to see if it's greater or not based on what comes after. But, shoot me whenever you set up that interview with Roy. Let me know. Shoot me the link. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We come back. Quite the press conference Matt Rhule had today. Several players followed. A lot to dissect. A lot to get into. Starting with, he says, Dylan Raiola cannot be a great quarterback at 240 pounds. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
If the week's been too hectic to even think about dinner, or your family can't handle one more night of leftovers, then it's time to let Hog Wild do the cooking. Hog Wild's family packs are one heck of a good deal for a complete barbecue meal loaded with all the smoked meats, tasty sides, buns, and sauces you need to feed your family. Order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Salt Lake City is not only Lincoln's newest brewery, but they're also now serving food. Enjoy a full menu of great items daily for lunch and dinner, like their peanut butter and jelly burger with bacon and cheddar cheese, or a Reuben sandwich served on Blackstone rye bread. Don't forget their beef or chicken nachos with guacamole, sour cream, jalapenos, and more. Wash it down with one of their 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager. Salt Mine City, now open 11 a.m. every day but Mondays at 8th and R.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and March Madness is here, and Koppel is ready to rock and roll. We just closed the books on a tremendous February, and we're locked and loaded for a big March. True 0% APR is happening right now at Koppel on select new models. Koppel also has over 10,500 off list on new select models. So please stop on by and see what confident driving and confident buying is all about. We're right down 144th Street or online at koppelcars.com. All deals with approved credit, 0% is standalone.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
What's it take to be a mentor with big brothers, big sisters? It takes 30 minutes and a cup of coffee. A video game, best 2 out of 3. It takes sharing thumbs up emojis, clapping emojis, and loaded nachos at halftime. That's how you make an impact on a young kid's life. So go on, share a few hours a month, because mentorship may sound huge, but the truth is, it takes little to be big. To learn more, volunteer, or donate, go to bebignow.org.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Lincoln's newest restaurant isn't just a typical sports bar. It's the sports bar for so many reasons. Liquid Asset Sports Bar and Grill in South Lincoln has 23 beers on tap and 36 TVs featuring all things sports from MLB to soccer to golf and more, and football, of course, in the fall. Stop by for their grand opening this Friday, March 14th, and enjoy great food and drink selection at Lincoln's newest go-to, Liquid Asset Sports Bar and Grill at 27th and Jamie Lane in South Lincoln.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
If you're a veteran, our nation has created a wide range of benefits to thank you for your service, but it can be difficult to navigate the process of determining eligibility, filing claims, appealing decisions, and securing the benefits you've earned. Speak to your County Veteran Service Officer or the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs State Service Office to see what's available to you and your family. These services are 100% free, so visit veterans.nebraska.gov today. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
This is the Adam Carriker Show.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carriker.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. We're going to dive right into this bad boy. All right, a loaded press conference. RHULE had a lot to say. Players, all right, things to react to. We're going to start right off the top. Basically, Matt RHULE said, he said it. Dylan RAIOLA is not going to be a great quarterback at 240 pounds. Dylan knows that. Dylan's working on it. Okay, do we have any idea what he currently weighs, Jake?
Yeah, I was going to look at his. I don't even know what his last listing was last year.
All right, look that up real quick. Let me know. And, I mean, take any height and weight, especially weight that you see listed online with a gigantic grain of salt.
So he's listed at 230 on ESPN at least. I can double check and make sure Huskers.com is the same.
So for me, I think and you got the clip. Maybe I should just have you play the clip. Let me know what Huskers.com says real quick, then we'll play the clip. For me, he needs to be a little bit quicker, a little bit more nimble. He needs to just work on his feet as a quarterback in general, which is not a surprising thing for a young quarterback. Okay. My biggest things coming into the offseason were his feet, getting a little bit trimmer, working on the deep ball. The deep ball, we know he can throw. It didn't go great last year. There wasn't a whole lot of time to throw. There wasn't guys open. And it was a lot of short to intermediate, quick, and screen passes. But that's something we got to get back to being able to take advantage of the deep ball, his big arm. We got speed at wide receiver now. We got to be able to protect him, give him the time to get the ball off. He's got to make the reads quicker. Okay, Holgorsen tried to help him by simplifying the amount of reads, and he played better as soon as that happened, at least to a degree. All right, but part of that is being a little bit slimmer and trimmer as well. It allows you to move quicker. It allows you to take off faster. It allows you – I don't know that a quarterback needs great endurance, okay, but there's something to be said for, hey, that guy's supposed to be the leader of the offense. Some people see him as the leader of the team. Well, if you're going to be in that position, people should be able to look at you and be like, that guy's the way he should be. He should be in very, very good shape. So for me, it's about being a leader as well. But go ahead and play that clip there, Jake. What did Huskers.com say real quick?
They did have him at 230 as well.
Okay, go ahead and play that clip.
You know, if you go back and look at Dylan's year, I mean, as a freshman, I think he did a lot of things that were not a lot of freshmen do. I think he was really up there in terms of passing percentage and all those different things. And then there's things I know as a freshman he would love to improve upon. So he's going into year 2 now. Last year, as a highly recruited freshman, I think at this time you saw him trying to, keep his voice quiet and just earn everyone's respect. I think now, he has to step up and lead when able. He's really working on his body composition. He won't be a great quarterback at 240 pounds, right? So getting his body composition to one where he can be fleet of foot, where he can slide nimbly and move within the pocket, where he can convert third downs with his feet. I think that's something that we're all bought into and he has to continue to do. So there's things he needs to work on. But also, just another year in the system, another year of understanding what a mat drill looks like, what an off-season workout looks like, what meetings look like. I think all players make a great jump from year 1 to year 2, and then probably from year 2 to year 3. The thing we're trying to avoid with all of our freshmen is a lot of times guys have some success as a freshman, and then they kind of tail off, and all of a sudden it takes till year 3, and you got to get them back going again. And whether it's Jacory or V9 or Willis or any of those guys who played as a true freshman, making sure that doesn't happen. And Dylan's certainly one we can't allow that to happen with. And so, Dana will, I'm sure, push him in every respect. Glenn does a great job with him on the day-to-day. And I think you just see a lot of consistency on that side of the ball.
What's your takeaway from that, Jake?
Well, I think there's a lot of good, information in there and kind of opened it up to the rest of the freshmen. But obviously it does kind of stand out to this, sometimes coaches, they'll tell you something, face to face, and you might think, okay, well, throwing out that number, that 240, pound number might be something. But sometimes you got to, it helps to bring it to public. Like, hey, everybody be on this. We've told them, we're actively telling him. I think RHULE does that a lot. I think he conversates with people and lets people know what's going on behind closed doors. But as you've seen on his kind of media circuit, he said before, he's fortunate enough to be in the position that he is, that he just kind of says whatever comes to his mind, or obviously he goes through it, but maybe says more than the average coach would. And I don't know if you would hear that from just any coach, but I think it's kind of a little bit putting kind of the public and everybody on the same level, that they know that they're trying to thin Dylan Raiola down a bit.
It's a very open and honest approach. It's one of the things I like about him. I think it's like when I'll go on YouTube and I'm constantly listening to sports shows and football shows, and I'm constantly trying to learn what's going on out there. Like when I talk about what's coming up next in college football and what to expect here and what to expect there, it's because I've heard it 3 or 4 different places from people that I trust. And there aren't many head coaches across America that I see in headlines as much as Matt RHULE from national shows. Now, maybe that's just because I tend to look up Nebraska things, so Nebraska sites tend to pop up more, or things with Nebraska names attached to them tend to pop up due to the algorithm. I don't know. But it doesn't matter if I'm on my laptop, my phone, my wife's laptop. It's Matt RHULE is the one coach that tends to come up the most, which is interesting because we were 7-6 last year. You would think it would be, a guy like Dabo Swinney's in the news a lot. He's another guy who's out there, but you would think it would be like coaches in the national championship, or Ryan Day's out there a lot, just won a national title. But for me, like, he's out there a lot, and I think it's because he tends to be ahead of the curve, because he doesn't care what other people are doing. He cares about doing what he believes is best, not what's popular. I think he's not interested in too many things other than doing what's best for the program, and he doesn't mind being honest about it. Like, this needs to happen, that needs to happen. Like, he's a guy, when he's holding the mirror, he'll turn it around so it faces himself, and he'll talk about it. And then he'll be like, hey, you need to work on this, you need to work on that. And it's not in a negative way, it's just very honest. I actually like and appreciate it. Sometimes I'm like, man, I wonder if it comes back to bite him in the butt sometimes, but it only bites you in the butt if it bothers you. I don't think it bothers him. I think it's just who he is. Like, he's openly talked about, hey, when you're on the sidelines at Carolina and the fans are in your family, your wife, your kids are in the stands, and everybody in the stands seems to be chanting, fire Coach RHULE, fire Matt RHULE. And he's talked about how Christian McCaffrey came over, put his arm around him at that point in time. So I think for him, that really helped him develop thick skin and a little bit of, hey, if I can survive this, I can survive anything. And I've got the ability to go through anything and endure to the end. And I know who I am, and I know what I want to be, and I'm okay with that, and I'm okay with being out there out front and honest. Now, as far as Dylan, he talked about his completion percentage. He completed 67.1% of his passes. That's very, very good in general, especially for a true freshman quarterback. I also talked about the lack of deep ball. So it's kind of like when Cam Ward is making fun of Shadur Sanders for all the checkdowns. Oh, you're going to get this completion percentage award because of your last name, because of all the checkdowns. That's what Cam Ward on the clip, some of the clips that we played here on this very show, was giving Shadur a hard time. Okay. You could argue that with Dylan just a little bit, but at the same time, for a true freshman, that's still pretty good. What I want to see change, I want to see the touchdown to interception ratio. I don't want to see 13 touchdowns, 11 interceptions next year. I want to see at least 2-1, preferably 3-1, if you're going to be one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the Big Ten, which I think is fair to ask for with the weapons around him, that experience, the offensive coordinator he's working with. As far as the weight itself, I'm just going to be blunt. There's no excuse to be 240. I don't know what he weighs right now. And I don't know that I trust what's on the sites. RHULE threw out 240 for a reason. How about this? He didn't throw out 280 or 210. He threw out 240 for a reason. So at some point, Dylan was 240 and or is 240. There's no reason to be 240. All right, just like when I stepped on the scale June 1st, and that thing said 303, I was like, that's not acceptable. I looked in the mirror and I said, that's not acceptable either. I'll go ahead and put my shirt back on, not look in the mirror for a while. That's what I did. And I sit here 275 today, and I've got 5 more pounds to go to reach my goal. There's been ups and downs and frustrations. And from time to time on here, I'll talk about how much of a jerk that scale's been to me, or it's been nice to me today. But at the end of the day, it comes back to me. If I want to get to 270, by God, that's on me. So it's on Dylan. From everything you hear, he's putting in the work. Putting on weight is harder for some people than others. Losing weight is harder for some people than others. What I'm going to say is, if you're 20 years old, which he now is, and you're asked to lose, I think 220 is the perfect weight for him. Okay. If you're asked to lose 20 pounds and you've got everything at your fingertips and your disposal, there's no excuse not to be 220 by spring. I don't know what he weighs now, or at the latest by when fall camp rolls around, last week of July, first part of August. Any thoughts there, Jake, before we move on?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, we'll wait and see. It's something that I don't know if you would call it a concern, but it's something that would be interesting to kind of track moving forward. And like you said, there's things that they can, obviously pocket awareness and sliding. I mean, especially sliding. These were kind of big deals last year. And so, to take that next step, he's got everything in the world that's going to help him over there at the university to get to the ideal playing weight. So it's a story that I think worth tracking a little bit now that we're talking about it, even going into spring.
And again, I'm going to come back to if I'm another player on that team. I always said, I don't care who you are when you walk through the doors, what you do once you're in the building. In other words, I didn't care if you were a 5-star, number 2 running back in the country, because I saw that guy walk in. He was a great dude. And I've also watched a walk-on walk-in that had no business being in the building physically. Turned out to be one of the 3 captains with me and Zach my senior year, Brandon Rigoni, one of the guys I respect the absolute most of anybody I've ever met in my life. I've also watched those 2 do Oklahoma drill versus each other, by the way. I don't care who you are when you walk through the doors, what you do once you're in the building. If I'm a teammate of Dylan's, I'm like, hey, 5-star recruit, legacy player, starts as a true freshman. That's all wonderful. Okay? Are you getting slim and trim? Are you doing your part? Hey, you're out in front and center the entire offseason. Okay, I've talked about that. But you're in the weight room at 6 a.m., according to D. Shorts, the wide receiver coach. I like that. I'm okay with you doing this as long as you're also doing that. And if you're doing that, I don't mind if you're doing this in the public eye. But if you're in the public eye, but you're not doing these other things, I'm not following you. It seems to me like Dylan is doing both. And if that's the case, and we win football games, I got 0 problems with it. All right. Let's see. Matt Rhule. I'm Pat Stewart as GM. With this new era of college football, you really need really smart people. Shares as Stewart has been a part of Super Bowl teams and is really adaptable. Rhule shares that he thinks things are actually working in the right direction. Coaching staffs in college football are looking more and more like an NFL model. And I quote, we are certainly farther along than we ever have been. I talked about this earlier, but the team looks bigger, faster, and stronger. And good news, there is not one player that isn't doing a good job, end quote. Talks about there's a ton of competition, which is what we want. Something about Dana is that he is a unifying force. So talks about, hey, we look different. Hey, that's good to hear. I like hearing that. I'm not going to lie. When I read that, I was like, I've seen that before. It's not the first time I've heard a coach say that. Is it the first time you've heard a coach say that? Or even close?
Sorry, I got blind. I wasn't listening. Sorry.
No, that's okay. He talks about how we look different. We look bigger, faster, stronger.
Okay, yeah.
I want to hear that.
Yeah.
I expect to hear it, especially with who we brought in. And I think Corey Campbell's a great strength coach. So I'm not surprised to hear it. It's also not the first time I've heard a coach say that.
Oh, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah.
How much stock do you put into that? I'm not saying he's lying in any way, shape, or form, but I also don't know that those other coaches were lying. But at some point, I got to see it play out with pads on.
I've never seen a coach say, we look a little weaker, a little slower.
Yeah. We're bigger, fatter, slower.
There's a lot of stuff, I honestly, just over the years, it's just kind of turns into coach speak that, it is something to put in a headline and get excited about, but yeah, I'm not gonna be, oh, they are? Well, now I think they're gonna win 10 games rather than 8.
Oh man. So it's true. I believe him and I believe that it's true, but to your point, what else is he supposed to say? You know what I mean? The thing out of all that stuck out to me was Dana being a unifying force, and there's competition. Competition is what you need. Competition to earn a spot, competition to keep a spot, competition to be on the field as much as you can be. Hey, if you're a D-end, that's great. Are you just a nickel D-end? Are you just a pass rushing D-end? Or are you a 3-down D-end? There's a difference. Like getting on the field and staying on the field are 2 different things as well. So I love that he brings up competition. All right. Rhule shares that last spring they were focused on adding competition. This spring will be about execution and excelling in situational football. You know what that translates to? The little things. Snapping, handing the ball off, not having the guy going in motion, getting the ball snapped into him, pump protection, field goal protection. It's not very often we've just outright been out-talented or outsized. We have been out-physicaled and we've been out-footballed when we've lost. Now, to be clear, I've sat here and talked about how Nebraska has talent, has size, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not saying we're a top 5 talent roster as we sit here in America. I'm not saying that. I'm also not saying we can't compete with an Ohio State because we've shown we can just a year ago. But like you look at Georgia, you look at Bama talent-wise, you look at Ohio State, you look at Texas, you look at those schools. They're ahead of us right now. They are. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is we are top 20. And we're losing to teams that aren't top 30. That's coaching and that's little things. And so that's the biggest thing I want to see this offseason. Get better at football. The parts that make up football, the little things. I believe our roster is the best. It's Ben. RHULE said RHULE shares they wanted Jalen Gromstad to come back. Really likes the way he and Dylan work and train together. You know, I mean, people obviously reported he was coming back, but not much was made of it. I'm like, why would you bring back him for another year unless you specifically want it? There's a reason he's back. And, you know, when I chatted with Roy, one of the things I asked him, I said, hey, we've got one proven running back. Quentin Ives, Matt RHULE likes, and we got some talented freshmen, other guys in that room, but nobody proven, nobody with real experience. Is that concerning to you? He said no. He said no because a veteran can lead a young guy and help speed up the process of them learning. And he's like, as long as the young guy's willing to listen and learn, and the veteran's willing to lead and take on that leadership role and help a younger guy and not just feel threatened by him, which can be a very real thing. He said he wasn't uber concerned. And so Jalen Gromstad is not going to start over Dylan, but he's a guy that has what Dylan doesn't, which is a ton of football experience. He wants to be a coach one day. Very smart. So I could see that pairing off the field. Plus, Jalen was the backup going into the bowl game. I mean, he might get his chance at some point. Who knows? And keep in mind how good he was at the NAIA level. Very good player. But off the field, he can help make Dylan better while also providing depth. I don't feel like that's been talked about hardly at all this offseason. I just did an appearance, and like Luke Lindenmeyer, Carter Nelson, Jalen were there. And man, they're just good dudes. It's hard not to like them in general. So maybe that sways me a little bit. But even before, I hadn't met Jalen before. This was only like 2 weeks ago. I still felt that same way. All right, it says practices will look different this year due to the 105 roster limit. The only thing that will change about spring ball is no spring game. Will be a good physical hard-nosed spring. All right, they are past the point of potential. It's about production now. So he talked about, as they're filling out this 105 and deciding who's going to be it and the depth chart, who's going to be on the roster and where you're going to be on the depth chart. It can't be about potential, what you can do. It has to be about what you're going to do right now. And I think part of that is the best players should play immediately. But I also think that a part of that is you can't tell me RHULE's not feeling a little bit of heat. He's got a 9-year, millions of dollars worth of a deal. But you can't tell me he's not feeling a little bit of heat. Like, there's got to be a performance level now. I think that's part of it. You got any thoughts on that, Jake?
No, I absolutely agree. I mean, a lot of this stuff that's kind of coming out just feels like year 3, right? It feels like the expectations of Matt RHULE winning at Nebraska are arriving. And so he's got to have his best roster prepared. They got to make sure everything's ironed out and ready to go. But it is, I mean, they're going away from, some of the stuff they were doing last year, maybe more as development, kind of a developmental program. And now they're here. They got to win. So it does really feel like a shift toward we'll get there to we're here. Let's start getting this thing going.
All right. RHULE says he knows he will keep taking a lot of heat for scheduling decisions. However, he acknowledges that it all comes down to making smart financial decisions. And that's what I've been talking about. He's going to do what he believes is best, maybe not necessarily what is popular. And as a coach, that's got to be one of the hardest things to do. He has to sit here for months and take heat for this. Him and Troy. The only time you get the payoff is when you get to like 8, 9, 10 wins. And then nobody cares. And you're in that college football playoff conversation. Or you're going to, the bowl game last year was awesome, but you're going to an even better bowl game if that's the case this upcoming year. Then all of a sudden, everybody's like, man, that was a genius decision. But for 6 months, you got to sit here. You got to take the bullets. That's what he's saying. And he's willing to do it. And I quote, if every decision is popular, you're not going to make the right decision. End quote. I've got to repeat that again. If every decision is popular, you're not going to make the right decision. I feel like I should read that to parents. Like, oh my God, if I did everything my kids wanted, they'd be eating cake, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They'd play video games 25 hours a day. They'd never go to school. And what would their adulthood look like? Like, it's the same thing for a football coach. It's not always about what's popular. You got to do what you feel is best. I like that quote a lot. Wants all the sports at Nebraska to get the services that the department offers, not just the football team. We've got a lot more to talk about. Let's go to break, because then we've got Rocco, and then I think Dawson McCullough's coming up at this press conference. So let's go to break, and we will keep diving through this press conference, quote by quote, clip by clip. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
Have you heard about Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center? Located at 7555 Pioneers Boulevard, Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center offers compassionate, patient-focused care and provides outpatient surgery services, making it possible to have non-emergency surgery and return home the same day. Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center specializes in cardiology, vascular radiology, orthopedics, pain management, and much, much more. Give them a call today at 402-261-1085 or online at amimaging.com.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Attention all wing fans! Buffalo Wings and Rings has daily specials that will make you want to stop in on all days of the week. Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays, enjoy 89-cent boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy. And come back on Wednesdays for $1.29 chicken tenders all day long. Get to Wings and Rings today at 68th and O or in Williamsburg Village.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstoRats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and March Madness is here, and Koppel is ready to rock and roll. We just closed the books on a tremendous February, and we're locked and loaded for a big March. True 0% APR is happening right now at Koppel on select new models. Plus, Koppel has over 10,500 off list on other select new models. Our pre-owned truck lot is full of late model low gyms as well. So make that short drive down 144th Street or check us out online at koppelcars.com. All deals with a roof credit, 0% and stand alone.
When you get the Planet Fitness Black Card, you can bring a friend anytime you work out. And now through March 13th, get your first month free when you join. You heard that right. Conquer the stair climber with your partner in climb. Enjoy a post-workout recovery session in the hydro massage. And do it all again with access to any of our 2,700 convenient locations. So, you coming? Get your first month free and all the perks of the PF Black Card for just $1 down, $24.99 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends March 13th. See Club for details.
It takes hard work to make Nebraska the right place to raise a family, build a business, or grow a community. We're counting on working parents to make it happen, and they're counting on childcare professionals to have their backs. Employers and other contributors can earn up to a $100,000 tax credit for strengthening childcare in our communities and state. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You get to choose your choices, but you don't get to choose your consequences. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. All right, let's finish up on our reaction. Where'd it go? Where'd the notes go? Goodness gracious. All right, on the reaction to the press conference, starting with Matt RHULE. All right, let's see here. Here we go. Thoughts on all players at the Combine. And I quote, "We were proud to have 4 guys there. I was really proud of Ty." End quote. He said having Ty on the team was like a cheat code. People didn't appreciate just how good Ty Robinson really was. Scouts shared with RHULE how well Ty did in his interviews beyond what he displayed on the field. The investment they have made in player development is paying off when you see the guys at the Combine. Was proven in the way Ty, Isaiah, Naor, and Thomas Fidone ran. Cam Jurgens, Ty, Thomas, and more are all training here at Nebraska. Not going to coaches all over the country. I do think that means something. Ty and Thomas in particular getting ready for the NFL draft. Now, I will say this. I don't know if they were training for the Combine here at Nebraska, because that would mean even more, because a lot of guys will go somewhere, train specifically for the Combine, which, by the way, is not like training for football at all. You're training for a track meet. It's completely different. It's once the Combine is over, I looked at it as a complete waste of time. I felt like I got worse at football, and I had to come back and train for football. Topic for another day. But if Ty and Thomas Fidone were training there to begin with up to the Combine, that means a lot. But even if they're training now, because I came back and trained at Nebraska after I had spent 2 or 3 months in Texas training for the Combine. So I don't know which exactly that is, but it is always good when you have former players coming back. All right, 2 NFL teams tried, as I mentioned earlier on the show, to poach strength and conditioning coach Corey Campbell, who I do believe is doing a good job. All the coaches RHULE respects told him to hire Terry Braden, which is why he brought him in. Obviously a very good hire as well as a defensive line coach. Is really excited about having Coach Simpson back. Thinks guys on the D-line are ready. That's a line I'm going to repeat again. Thinks guys on the D-line are ready. What's your reaction to that? We have all these inexperienced guys. Only one guy who's ever started a game in his entire collegiate career. Hardly any guys who played a large amount of downs at all in their collegiate career. They haven't even practiced a snap in spring practice yet. Oh, I like everything he said. I have a hard time with this one. He thinks they're ready. We haven't even had a spring practice yet. How can he know that, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, that might be tough, but I mean, again, it might be some of the names that you do kind of think in there. I know defensive line's a big question, and we're going to see where these guys go. But, you know, just from the start of it, I have a pretty high level of confidence in a Cam Linhart or a Riley Van Poppel. So, you know, maybe it's just kind of the offseason progress that you've made. But, I mean, I agree with you. It's one of those things that, like, again, if he says that, that's good. But we're going to have to wait and see on that because, like you said, I mean, he might have to wait and see on that. That might be something by the end of the week. He said, you know, by the end of the first week of spring, he might think, well, maybe I said that a little too quickly.
When I look at this team, we've talked about it a bunch. Love the skill positions on offense. Love the interior offensive line, quarterback, running back, tight end room. Got to feel good about all that. I mean, Gunnar Kurtula stepped in more than admirably with injuries that enabled him or forced him, however you want to look at it, to start as a freshman. He came and stepped in admirably. Okay, you look at Elijah Pritchett, through the roof talent. Not through the roof consistency at all yet. So tackle's a bit of a question mark. Now, those guys might both end up being first-team all-conference performers next year because I look at them both and I see Sunday-type talent. But I thought Gunner probably played better than Elijah did last year down at Alabama, with Gunner being thrust into starting to left tackle, but he's got areas he needs to improve. Athleticism is great, got to be a little bit more powerful, strong and sturdy, explosive at the point of contact. But that's really my question mark, is the offensive tackle and the offensive tackle depth. And defensively, it's the D-line. Now, 2 years ago, you remember the question mark on defense 2 years ago? You remember what it was, Jake? Going into Rhule's first season, what was it?
Rhule's first season.
On defense, the biggest question mark, biggest position group of question mark. That was a question mark on defense.
The D-line?
It was the D-line.
Yeah.
And it ended up being the strength of the team. So I'm like, how do you know they're ready? They haven't even put on a helmet and not shoulder pads and just a jersey yet for that first practice. So I'm not saying they can't be good. They won't be good. When I look at the team, I have 3 big question marks: offensive tackle, defensive line, and the frickin' little things. Those are my big question marks. They could all, at the end of the season, we could grade all those A+. They could be Bs, they could be whatever. We'll see. All right. Rhule talked about how he almost didn't want to hire Eckler because of the former players that were saying you should hire Eckler, and the guys in the media were saying you should hire Eckler. He didn't want to deal with like a celebrity coach. This guy does not care what people say. He almost didn't hire Mike Eckler because of what people were saying and we wanted him. And then he was like, he's too good. How do you not hire him? Basically is what he said. I'm paraphrasing. But Eckler, all right, he is one of the best teachers. That's a quote. And I quote, he is one of the best teachers, end quote. Eckler and Snow are 2 really good evaluators. All right. Is the next clip, is it a Matt Rhule clip?
Yeah.
Go ahead and play it.
All right, here's Matt Rhule talking about the plan for the offensive line.
I think he's been, we've been rotating both at left guard because he's had success there in the center. We have a lot of guys, that we're excited to see play this spring. Sam Sledge, Jason, Mashake Shock, all those guys. I mean, they're all going to have an opportunity. Grant Bricks, Preston, many, many more. Tyler Knox healthy, coming back from being injured at the end of the year, healthier. So they've all waited their turn. And while there's been some obviously big portal moves. For the most part, when you look at college football, people are building their offensive line still through recruiting. And so it's, I think people sometimes expect, I think players expect, well, I'm a big recruit, I'm going to come in right away. And the old model of, as an offensive lineman, basically to come in and redshirt the first year, be a backup the second year, your redshirt freshman year, and hopefully contribute and start as a third-year player. That's the model. That's the model of having a successful team. And so some of those guys are in their third year, they're in their second year. I think they're right on track. So we have brought 2 guys in that are older to help, but we have a bunch of guys we feel good about. And if we can get Turner, Teddy back, that will certainly bolster us as well.
So here's some of the names that are in the mix. I'm going to start with the interior offensive line because that's where I feel better at the moment. Justin Evans-Jenkins, Henry Lutovsky, Rocco Spindler, all got a bunch of starting experience. All right. Don't forget about a guy like Sam Sledge, who's up there as well. Highly touted young freshman, Grant Bricks, Preston Tamua. And he mentioned a lot of other guys. Now, depending on where you look, okay, you actually see Grant Bricks listed as a tackle. You see some of these guys as a tackle, some of them as a guard, whether it's Teddy Prohaska, Turner Corcoran, they could be moved around. On the interior, I still feel pretty good about the center guard situation. When you look at the tackle situation, you got Gunner, you got Henry Lutovsky, you got a lot of these other guys that he mentioned in that clip as well. And again, depending on where you look, Grant is listed as a guard. He's listed as a tackle, talking about Grant Bricks. You've got guys who can provide competition, who actually earns the job. You got guys with experience. You've got some talented guys as far as recruiting rankings, if you want to, depending on how much weight you want to put on those. When you look at the offensive line, there's things to feel good about, especially on the interior. I look at that tackle spot and I need to see consistency along with the ability and talent that I do see. You got any thoughts there, Jake?
Yeah, it's interesting. So, that especially the what he opened up was talking about Justin Evans at potentially guard or center. I think a lot of us kind of just thought, okay, well, he'll move into center from this position, but they like what he's done at guard. So, that's interesting. And then, you just like the fact that he's acknowledging that some of these younger players are names that we've talked about and were big recruits. It's time to see them show off. And I think that's kind of being the big question. You can have your different opinions on Coach RAIOLA and his offensive line at this point. I think a lot of people feel like it's gotten better, but how much? But the real question is, he was doing that a lot with the Turner Corcorans and the Ben Harts, the guys that have kind of been around. Can you develop underneath those guys once they're ready to move on? And now that Ben Hart's gone, and I think Corcoran, Prohaska are probably if you get something from them, it's good. If you don't, you're not necessarily banking on it so much. So it's time for those younger guys to step up and play and show what they've got. And again, there are certain guys that you might have questions about because they haven't seen them play. But I thought Brock Knudsen Gunnar Katula, who's out this spring. But I thought that he filled in, admirably enough that we weren't complaining about him too much.
Yep, I would agree with that. Was 18 guys out this spring? I think I saw earlier. There's a lot of guys out this spring. You talk about Turner and Teddy, Turner Corcoran, Teddy Prohaska, just coming off so many knee injuries and surgeries, especially with Teddy coming off of 3 of them. I'm not counting them out. I just realize while he may contribute, you don't want to sit here and count on it. You just want to see what happens, what unfolds, how these competitions end up unfolding over time. All right, let's see here. Rocco Spindler was next at the mic. Feels like this is the best place for him to not only get to the next level, but also to help this team. Now and I quote, "It is hard-nosed football here. The resources here from a medical standpoint speak for themselves," end quote. Rocco hasn't been here long, but he already speaks the language of this O-line room. Loves being coached by Donovan Raiola, and I quote, "He is straight to the point. There's no fluff. The quarterback here is phenomenal," end quote. Said he wants to be a part of this offense. Him and Dylan have sat down together to pick each other's brains. Said Dylan is a great friend, but he's an even better teammate. Says the guys here are tough as nails, not only to get through mat drills, but to attack it. Need to be an O-line. This stood out to me. Need to be an O-line driven program. Let's repeat that again. Need to be an O-line driven program. This is year 4 under Donovan Raiola as the offensive line coach. He's been here longer than anybody. That includes Matt Rhule. This is year 3 for Rhule. All right. I'm gonna take something you said yesterday, and I'm gonna take out Dylan Raiola's name, even though his name belongs in there. But for the sake of this particular statement, I'm gonna take out his name and I'm gonna insert the offensive line. We need to start winning games because of the offensive line, not in spite of the offensive line. So I repeat that again.
Yeah.
We need to start winning games because of the offensive line, not in spite of the offensive line. All right. Dane Key next to the... Do you have anything on that real quick before we move on? You actually had a clip from Rocco, didn't you, I thought?
We have a quick clip, Matt Rhule talking about Rocco.
Okay, go ahead.
Spindler here.
First and foremost, he's a big, powerful man, right? So I mean, he's another guy up front who can move people, who can accelerate his feet at the line of scrimmage, knock somebody back, slide his feet and pass pro. So it's just another good player, and he's really a great guy. He's a really good person. He fits the culture of that room. Sometimes you bring a guy in from a place that's had a lot of success and, they've got all the answers. And I think the thing that he's done is he's been great about just assimilating into our culture and adding value where he can. I think he'll be one of the, the leaders in that room. And there's a bunch of them. I think you see a guy like Justin Evans, who's really, with the older guys gone, now it's kind of his time. Some of those guys, Turner, Teddy, Henry, Gunner, they're all hurt, right, coming out of the season. So the guys that you have practicing full time, the Justins, those guys are really trying to accelerate kind of where we are. And I think Rocco's just jumped right in. Great guy to have, be around, very mature. And I'm excited to do some football with him.
So I love a lot of the things he said about Rocco. I mean, I'm not saying anything that Matt Rhule says isn't true, but I know they're specifically true. Rocco is a tough football player. He is a physical football player. He came from a team that just won a national championship. And according to Rhule, he's not walking in the door being like, I know everything. You can't coach me or touch me. No. He seems to be taking the opposite approach while also taking a leadership approach. And if you watch Notre Dame, I would love if Nebraska football was as tough as Notre Dame was last year. What Marcus Freeman has built at Notre Dame, I'm not going to lie, I'm jealous of it. They're not the most talented team in the country. They're probably top 20, maybe top 15. You want to be kind? Top 10, maybe? And they just played for the national championship, and they were the second best team in the country. As much as I mocked and insulted them for losing to Northern Illinois, they played phenomenal football. And the true mark of a person isn't what happens to you. It's how you respond to what happens to you. And they responded. in a phenomenal way. It's hard to build a culture nowadays. He's got a culture there. He's got a culture and a team that plays physical. I would love if Rocco would bring, while also being humble enough to be a positive leader, bring that to Nebraska. And I would love if Nebraska's physicality looked a lot similar to what I saw from Notre Dame last year. I went from mocking them to losing to Northern Illinois to predicting them before a single college football playoff game was played to predicting them to being in the national championship. You remember that?
Yeah.
That's how much respect I have for what Marcus Freeman has done there. And I would love to see Nebraska do some more things like that. I had a teammate in D.C., and I loved him. He's a good dude. He was well-liked on the team when he joined. He played for the Giants. They won a Super Bowl championship. He signed as a big-time free agent, was a 4-3 nose guard, and was asked to come play 3-4 nose guard for us in D.C. It is a different type of nose guard. It is not the same thing at all. No, I'm not talking about Albert Hainsworth. That story's for days right there with Albert Hainsworth. But this guy came in, and the one thing I couldn't stand about him, well, we won a Super Bowl and we did this. We won a Super Bowl and we did that. We won a Super Bowl and we did this, which was not what we were doing. It's a 3-4 defense. It's very different from the 4-3. I mean, his was an attacking, penetrating, up-the-field defense. And I played for Spagnuolo, who was his D coordinator. I know what that defense looks like, and I know what the defense in D.C. looked like. And while I keep in touch with this guy to this day, that's how much I liked him. But he would not shut up about, you guys are doing it the wrong way. This isn't the right way. It should be this. It should not be that. It drove me nuts. I'm like, dude, we're not a 4-3. We're not the Giants. We don't have Eli Manning. Like, this is what you're being asked to do. By the way, you're being paid a ton of money, which is why you came here as a free agent. How about you just listen to Jacob while he's screaming, Bernie, and why don't you just do what you're asked? As much as he never worked out as a 3-4 nose, physically he could do it. He just wouldn't buy in because he had all the answers before he walked in the door. So as much as I liked him as a person, I did not enjoy him as a teammate, and it didn't work out on the football field. It sounds like Rocco is the opposite of that from what we're being told, and I like that. All right, so we still got to chat about Dane Key and Dawson McCullough, so we're going to go to break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Attention all wing fans! Buffalo Wings and Rings has daily specials that will make you want to stop in on all days of the week. Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays, enjoy 89-cent boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy. And come back on Wednesdays for $1.29 chicken tenders all day long. Get to Wings and Rings today at 68th and O or in Williamsburg Village.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue. It's $5.99 barbecue time. Hurry to Hog Wild for a complete barbecue meal that's only $5.99. Get a one-meat sandwich loaded with our award-winning barbecue, plus your choice of a classic side and drink for just $5.99. Upgrade your sandwich to beef brisket for just $1 more. Join us for lunch or dinner in Lincoln at 3210 Cornhusker Highway. Order online at GoHogWild.com.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Hey Husker Nation, this is Todd Euler, two-time national champion, here to talk to you about Window World Lincoln. At Window World, we specialize in replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing. Whether you're looking to enhance the beauty of your home or increase its energy efficiency, we've got you covered. And here's the best part. We offer the best for less. Our team is dedicated to providing top quality products and exceptional service at affordable prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at WindowWorldLincoln.com. Window World Lincoln, where quality meets affordability.
I'm Chief Dave Engler. When a fire truck hits a pothole with 12 tons of fast-moving equipment and crew, it's a problem. On your ballot in April is a measure to continue Lincoln's quarter-cent sales tax for street improvements. A vote against eliminates the street funding. A vote for will not raise your taxes and keeps the funding in place. And better roads means faster response times. Learn more at LincolnOnTheMove.com.
We use our Lincoln streets every day, and so do first responders. But visitors and out-of-town commuters also do. A quarter-cent sales tax for streets passed by voters in 2019 makes those commuters pay about $6 million a year to improve streets. On your ballot in April is a measure to continue it. A vote against means no more funds from commuters. A vote for will not raise your taxes, and commuters still pay. Learn more at LincolnOnTheMove.com. paid for by the City of Lincoln.
Garage doors can break down or quit working at the worst times. At Doors Plus, they understand that a broken garage door sometimes means repair and not replace. Sometimes, all you need to make your door like new again is a few bolts, a realignment, or even a new balance. Trust the pros at Doors Plus to handle your garage door repair the right way so you can get on with your busy schedule. Visit them online at DoorsPlusLLC.com or give them a call today at 402-590-5800. Doors Plus, garage doors and more.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Have you heard about Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center? Located at 7555 Pioneers Boulevard, Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center offers compassionate, patient-focused care and provides outpatient surgery services, making it possible to have non-emergency surgery and return home the same day. Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center specializes in cardiology, vascular radiology, orthopedics, pain management, and much, much more. Give them a call today at 402-261-1085 or online at amimaging.com.
Spring storms can unfortunately lead to power outages. While LES line workers go out in the storm, you can stay in, but you can also help by reporting your outage right away online at les.com/report.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Bryant at 402-467-1111 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-467-1111.
Hey, what are you talking about over there? Huh? I said, what are you talking about?
You know, Bill, I think it's time for both of us to get our hearing checked. We should head over to Christensen Hearing Analytics.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about them. They offer a free hearing consultation and screening, affordable hearing aid prices, and a knowledgeable staff with over 30 years of experience.
Visit Christensen Hearing Analytics today in Williamsburg Village or give them a call at 402-489-3450. Christensen Hearing Analytics. A better life starts with better hearing.
A lot of businesses say that they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business feels anything but for your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, as they do with customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom! Welcome back to the Adam Carriker Show. Here, ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot to talk about and not a lot of time to talk about it, so let's light this candle. All right, one other thing I forgot to mention is that Matt Rhule said that they build towards year 3. Everywhere he's gone, Nebraska's no different. They build towards year 3. I just thought that was worth noting. Also, in the headline of the show today, because we fully intended to talk about it, is ESPN, basically their debate shows, are they ruining pro sports? And I wanted to spend a lot of time on that. I didn't realize there'd be so much to take from this press conference, so we will dive into that on Monday or Tuesday next week. I didn't want to rush through that segment, and my old buddy, Robert Griffin III, had a lot to say on that, so we will dive into that next week. I apologize, we ran out of time today. Steven off the text line asked, Does Nebraska have an offensive lineman the talent of Richie Incognito? First of all, there's not a lot of those guys out there with that type of talent. The answer is yes. Elijah Pritchett, let me remind you, number one offensive lineman in the entire country according to 247 Sports Recruiting Rankings coming out of high school. And there's other guys that are talented as well. Are they as good? We'll see. All right, let's finish. Press conference reaction. Dane Key shares the one of the main reasons he came here was because of Dylan Raiola. Also, he said, and I quote, Coach Shorts, T-Shorts, knows the player I can be. Shares that him and Coach Shorts developed a really strong relationship last year at Kentucky, on and off the field. Dane's goal this offseason is to work on playing faster. Playing faster is also a goal of the offense this year as a whole. He said, and I quote, I know this football program is really special, and quote. Shares that he is appreciative to be part of it now. Dylan was the first person to text him when he was in the portal. Dane appreciated how much Dylan was around when he was here for his visits, and I quote, talking about D Shorts, and I quote, Coach Shorts has really helped me with my mentality on the field. Shares he did a lot of homework when he was in the portal, watched a lot of tape, and said all roads led to Nebraska. Before he left his visit, Coach Holgerson said, and I like this quote, if you don't want to be that guy, stay at Kentucky. God, do I love Dana Holgerson. That's awesome. I mean, people, there are people who do not like that Dylan Raiola is out there everywhere in the public eye. Here's what I know. Not a single player on that team has done more peer recruiting to try to get guys here than Dylan Raiola. Dane Key just flat out laid out what I've already said multiple times on this show. So you got to recognize that as well. All right, Dawson McCullough, when he was up there, he said he felt comfortable in Lincoln and coming to Nebraska. Williams and Worry has caught his attention. Williams is up to 270 now, thinks he will be a future first-round pick. I've told you, when you watch his high school tape, I don't need the arrow. Like, I'm not talking during the play or after the play. I'm talking before the snap of the ball. I don't need the arrow to point me where he's at on the field. He stands out. Hopefully, he stands out once the ball is snapped and the football season is going next year as well. He has a lot of potential. All right, Dawson said he is at the point in his career where he wants to specialize in one spot and be closer to the ball. He has seen a lot of different styles of football, shares that the Big Ten is more traditional, head-to-head, run-heavy type of football. SEC has talented receivers and Big 12 flashes of creative offenses. Looks forward to bringing his playmaking ability and aggression to the defense this season, approaching this offseason and regular season with a pro mindset. If I was to list the top 5, 10 most talented guys on Nebraska's team, Dawson's in there. Williams and Warrior would be in there. Elijah Pritchett would be in there. Dylan Raiola would be in there. There's other guys, obviously. But, like, I'm telling you, Dawson and Williams and Warrior, and RHULE said they want to use them to get after the quarterback. Like, as a guy who likes to get after the quarterback, I can't help but get excited. All right, any final thoughts before we get out of here, Jake?
No, just excited to see the, like you said, two of the new faces at Nebraska football. That's going to, Dane Key and McCullough are going to kind of drive how the season goes to a degree. So it's good to hear from him.
Great point. And I forgot to mention, Dane Key said he wants to play faster and the offense wants to play faster. That excites me as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your spring break from me. I'll see you fine folks again on Monday next week. Go Big Red Nose. Remember to throw the ball.
McKinney's Irish Pub in the Haymarket is your place for English Premier League soccer. On Saturday, Nottingham Forest plays Man City at 6:30 a.m., followed by Liverpool versus Southampton